Assum immobile. Something that's not mobile. I literally cannot say that word. I don't know what it is. I need to work on that word. Yeah. Something that's not mobile.
You were close.
Whether it's thanks. I appreciate the. I need some, like, just that word. That word gets me every single time, and I always sound like a complete idiot when I try to continue to go for it. But
it's okay.
Pretty standard bans other than the Lee Sin. The Lee Sin's a bit questionable. I mean, I know maybe, but it's being banned. I have to believe there's a spicy build coming up. We're picking Seraphine away because we're not giving Ashe Seraphine. NIP's not going to do that, right? Because they banned it last game. So if we're giving over Ashe, I have to believe Seraphine something is coming up. Jin's gone. Thank God. I hated the Jin Seraphine, whoever played that. But I am hoping this Ezreal gets through some point tonight. It's not tonight, so that means maybe I'm cheering for an NIP win.
Yeah, Zhuo looking like he wants to steal the Seraphine, and he will do just that. So going to save their bot laner for later on. They know they're not going to get one of those like, tier 1 duos, but they decide that they're happy to play that side of the matchup. They are going to get care on this Annie. That's going to take Nya further away from the things that he's been most comfortable on. Looking at the Lulu for Mako, just to try to buff up this Ashe, even if you can't have the Ashe Seraphine combo, you can at least stack up some big slows and get a little bit more power out of the Rangers' focus.
Yep. Lulu's been one of those supports that we've consistently seen. Now, I know that this is Xin Zhao jungle and it's going to be AD, but AP Xin Zhao would be so fun, man. IG, right? Way you'd love, or Nya, maybe it's
happen, man.
Maybe it's AP Xin Zhao mid, but I mean, Xin Zhao with Enchanters always been really strong, so we're seeing it a lot this year. Not surprising to see this locked in. I think NIP, they've got a lot more engage potential. Still a bit concerned about the damage like I was last game. Really need to see some more. Senna doesn't really alleviate that concern. That's a pretty spicy bot lane though. Senna, Seraphine.
That's a little something.
I'm still worried damage-wise though.
Yeah, well, so here's what's really going to make you worried damage-wise. Because there's some tech we've been cooking up in North America a little bit. Spica's been playing this in NACL. Okay. You can go support Seraphine and go all the healing items.
Yep.
And it's nuts, dude. It heals so much.
Support Senna.
Yeah, like you go full support Senna. You go full Healy items. To do that with Seraphine, you would need to go farming AP Seraphine.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to do that, but it would certainly give some
there?
big heals to the rest of the team. It would also mean that, again, NIP start to struggle on damage, and they need go out.
We really need some AD in top as well then. Yes. I'm with it, though. I'm with it. Maybe this is some crazy tech.
Hoya is the world's premier Varus top. Yes, it's banned, but he can go to other marksmen.
He can play AD crit cannon, I believe. It's been buffed. He can pick it. And there's a lot of setup for him to pop off, all right? I'm with this plan 100%. I will say, with the new Shiv applying on hits, I don't exactly know how that functions with Black Cleaver, but I'm sure the build is the same and probably is like a decent bit stronger. No top lane bans. I guess Aurora could be a top lane ban, but I am really surprised to see no top lane bans at all. Bit of mid laners, some junglers here. IG do have last pick, I believe.
Oh, no, NIP does.
No. NIP have last pick. That's my mistake. So that's a top lane ban. It has been jungle this year, which is kind of crazy to say, but that's a top lane ban. So NIP will have to show some...
Whoa!
No way, guys.
All right. Well,
this is top lane Shyvana, right?
No. Surely this is jungle Shyvana. Surely you have to jungle Shyvana now because you need to kill large jungle monsters to get your stacks, your chainmail stacks, or whatever it's called. I think it's chainmail.
Yeah, but then there's a Xin Zhao with a Lulu behind him invading you all game. I guess you have to lane into Renekton, so maybe I'm completely trolling and it is just jungle Shyvana, but I mean, we said we wanted to see some cook, and I don't know what the bot lane's going to be just yet. but there's a Shyvana in the game, and I know it's been, I think it got buffed a bunch on this patch. I didn't quite look at the numbers super hard because we haven't been seeing Shyvana, but it did get changed this patch. I'm just excited to see. I mean, IG's comp is very global reliant, very like early game skirmishy as well. With the Gnar locked in, it will just be the Shyvana jungle. Yeah. So we've got the double global plus the like massive vision. Really, really good early skirmishing with Ashe, Lulu, Renekton, Xin Zhao, and then a late game insurance of this Ryze and the Lulu together. On the other side, NIP, I have no, like, I don't really know what's going on. I guess Shyvana scales, that's great, but again, not a ton of damage. Annie, just bursting. I guess Senna scales infinitely as well, so if the game goes an hour and a half, NIP's comp is sick.
True. Yeah, got a couple of infinite scalers there, because I do believe the scale mail scales infinitely as well for the Shyvanas. She's going to keep getting tankier and tankier as the game goes on. I mean, you can go a damagey Shyvana build. Like, this could be a more kind of skirmishy, like, on-hit-y, abusing Dusk and Dawn with on-hits kind of Shyvana build, and relying then on the Senna and the Seraphine to try to get some extra heals there and keep her topped off. I mean, that's a real strategy there. So if they can get Guwon safely through this early game and make sure that this Xin Zhao isn't taking jungle camps the way that Nocturne was in game number 1, this could be a Guwon carry game for the likes of NIP.
He's going to have to carry on the dragon. So we'll have to see how that goes. IG leading 1-0 already, NIP. Backs against the wall in this series, Gordo, and they've brought something fun to show us how it's done.
Indeed. Busted out a little bit of new tech. You've been begging for it all night, Jbetto, so.
Looking at runes. Oh, we've got some new stuff. We've got Doran's bows and Deathfire Touch on the rise.
Stuff, yeah. Deathfire Touch probably going to be the new rune of choice for, you know, rises in your area. No more Phase Rush feels pretty bad for the blue man, but definitely not going to go for Storm Raider's Surge. And wow, Breathe playing this level 1 plenty aggressively. Just trying to keep Hoya off the wave.
So 2025, they played Shyvana last year at some point. I guess very early last year, but I'm surprised it's been played that recently in the LPL. I know that this is different. Oh, Awesome!
All right, Awesome. Let's finding out just how weak the level 1 Senna can be. Forced to flash at level 1.
All right, so we've got an update. I wanna thank shout out Rafa for this. He's just talking about builds to us here. Because the Shyvana builds are very strange. I didn't exactly see what rune Shyvana started with, but Triforce, Shojin, AD Bruiser, Qmax, then Wmax, or Shojin Riftmaker Leandries, AP Bruiser, Emax, then Qmax. So we'll have to see what, not only what Shyvana is building, but what they're, if he's maxing as well, or Guwon decides to go. But here's the invading I was talking about. The early Shyvana is not strong at all.
Yeah, Jwei gonna find Guwon here. Too late to get the big Krug, not too late to contest for some of the little ones. And this is exactly what NIP did not want to have happen, because they are going to lose their red buff now. Jwei should be able to take this, and there's no, you know, diagonal split the map strategy to be done here. He's just going to cross back over, take his own camps, and earn himself a solid lead.
Yeah, I'm sure this has been alleviated a little bit, but because Shyvana gets stats per camp, her base stats early are abysmal.
Yeah. As
these bases are going to be stopped, and I mean, NIP might be able to keep this wave out if they can do a good bit of clearing here, but if they get dove here, Awesome already down a lot of CS. See how this goes.
Yeah, let's find his first dive out. IG looking to solidify a nice early lead, and no flash on Assum means that's almost too easy. Jwei going to be able to clean that one up. Nya forced to flash in mid.
Okay, so it is some AD getting built. We can't see what Guwon's maxing at. Is he's only level 3. Just stick over to 4 now. I'll have a look back if we do see Shyvana hovered again. But yep, really easy dive. Jwei picks up the first blood. That's a 600 gold lead, plus denied the wave as well. So really good start for IG. We're talking about the jungle situation, and yeah, not looking too hot for Guwon so far, at least after that first invade. Has caught up a decent bit. In fact, is ahead because Jwei decided to go for that gank instead. But look at how many camps Jwei has up, so he'll be able to catch back up in no time. Attack speed. Attack speed tells me that this is Trinity Force with Conqueror, so I imagine that it's the AD Shyvana and not like a... You said Shojin's Rift Maker, like for Andrews, so that would be not a dagger. We'll have to see. We'll have to keep tabs on this.
Yeah, there's a few different possibilities. We
He's
will
on Qmax.
Be on the lookout. Yeah, it is Qmax. So keeping that in mind, that also probably puts a damper on any kind of APE builds that you might be keeping in the back of your mind. But certainly still lots of different creative stuff you can go for. There are kind of on-hit-y builds, and then there are bruiser-y builds. Well, Care doing a solid job of keeping these minions cleared on out. Nya does have a slight advantage, despite having had his flash blown earlier on.
Bit of a tough lane. Not only after that kill, the early pickaxe being picked up for Jwei, but just having the Ashe and the Lulu in general means that the lane is really tough to get through. The teamfight skirmish with Seraphine is pretty nice, and the engage from range, that's why it works so well with the Ashe. But I just feel like this IG's comp is really, really solid. Let's see Guwon's first gank.
Yeah, trying to get in here on towards Nya. Did
successfully
blow the flash earlier, but unfortunately the lack of hard CC without Care's passive means that they will not be able to stop a Realm Warp to safety.
Yeah, that was a little unimpactful, but it's okay. No ult yet for Guwon, but tough to really close the gap on this champion without that. And even then, maybe probably had enough damage to burst down if he was on top of Nya. But yeah, I really think that IG's comp, like, it's so strong in the mid game. It's insane. Renekton, like, whenever all these champions are close to level 11, working on like 1 or 2 items, I truly don't see a fight in which NIP do well. I think the only way this comp really functions well is Hoya getting a lead in top on his own. I know Renekton, like in the mid game, is really scary, like I said, in the team fights, but if Hoya can build up a really, really solid lead for himself on the side lane that we've seen Naz do, and then get these stacks onto Guwon, onto Awesome, and make a team fight with your really solid engage.
All right, they really need this to work on the Nya. They've gone for him 3 times now, and finally they will pick up the kill. The flash successfully punished, and Care on the board.
Yeah, the issue is you've put so much resources into mid for a tiny little gold lead. Down in bot, the situation is not getting any better. 1k lead for Jwei. We'll be able to get a plate here and even it up just a little bit, but it's not going to get any easier. And I still think that these team fights around these dragons, like second dragon, third dragon, when, first item to second item, when these level 2 ults start coming through, the game is really, really hard for NIP to play. And I think they need to be really creative with finding angles to even approach fights. Having flashes burnt, though, and picking on Nya, that's a really good start.
It is. Guwon's also recovered in the CS department somewhat. It is looking like it's likely going to be that Trinity Force build that you were talking about earlier on. So he does get the Phage completed. And is, caught up both in treats so far in this game, as well as in just, like, raw CS numbers way, only with a, measly double-digit gold lead. Guwon could pretty much be considered fully caught up. Oh! Flash in from Breathe onto the Mini-Gnar. Thinks that he can go for the solo bolo, can at least trade flashes 1 for 1. Meanwhile, IG starting on up these grubs. Guwon in the area, has access to Dragon's Descent. Here comes Enchanted Crystal Arrow, connects its way on towards Care. They're going to try to blow him up. He hasn't been able to breathe, and he'll finally fall down to Nya. There's going to be a flash over from Zhuo to be able to rejoin with the rest of the team, and there goes Hoya, locking down onto Nya, making it mid laner for mid laner, as the beat drop goes across the rest of the team, slowing them on up. Dragon's Descent from Guwon, going to make him plenty strong for this battle, and Hoya in the mini form going to try to slow them up with the boomerang. He takes up more damage than he bargained for, though, and Jwei going to be able to take him back on down. Dash forward from Breed. Okay. Guwon going to be able to find 1 kill on the way. Now trying to turn it back onto the Croc as well. Guwon with a chance to really cash out. Gonna have to settle for just 1 kill. It's a 2 for 2 in the top side.
All right, well, NIP even that up after looked super great for them with not only the top lane skirmish being bad, but this arrow is what started it. A full range arrow onto Care. But I think the Lulu ult is really nice, but the fact that they're not able to kill Care so quickly after he's stunned for 5 seconds straight, and he has to flash over the wall, so the fight's separated. Breed is low from the trade in top lane already, and Guwon kind of just unleashes on this Shyvana. The Q to, like doing true damage in dragon form is really nice. Fight ends up kind of fizzling out, where he gets another kill and ends up dying himself. But really good fight from both sides. Very close. I think that if Care was able to die just a little bit faster, that fight would have looked a lot different.
Definitely. The fact that they're able to keep the ante up for long enough, you know, thank you, Molten Shield. You are our best friend here if you're an NIP supporter. And they do manage to get him out of there. Now Breed looking for a brawl with Hoya once again. This time just taking it into the Mega Gnar. And with no flashes, I don't know if Hoya can navigate out of this. The crunch, just enough to hop out to safety, is awesome. Now, maybe had a little bit of a slow on Itachi, didn't quite find it.
All right, Guwon's around the corner here, baiting. But the problem is, RNG's all here.
All right, Realm Warp coming on through. Nya gonna have the cutoff. Nice last embrace, though, connecting on Itachi, gonna slow this whole thing down. And that might just be slow enough that it doesn't happen at all.
Yep. Okay, we see there both cleansers already burned. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow also already used. Pardon me. And Guwon being there is actually enough to dissuade the gank. So this Shyvana champion, I mean, first time in the LPL, or I guess since visual rework, and, you know, kit rework too, sort of. But since it's been changed, it's not looking too bad so far.
Yeah, doing pretty good. It's a solid start for Guwon. Despite being attacked in the early game, was able to recover, and then that kill feels very good for him. And oh my!
Oh,
this is not the build that we were told.
No, this is not the build I was told. I was lied to. I thought it was Trinity Force, and when I saw the I don't actually know what the name of the part is, but the hammer that gives you like movement speed. Yeah, that's right, Phage. Yeah, when I saw Phage, I was like, okay, it's Trinity Force. I'm not going to check back. It is not Phage. It's actually experimental hexplate. I need to do some Googling.
Yeah, so looking at this build on like LOLalytics at least, it looks like folks are going hexplate into like on hit stuff. So they're going, I mean, some people go it into like Sundered Sky, so maybe we are going to see a more bruisery build. Ooh,
okay.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow fired out, splits the uprights, 3 points. Jwei and Guwon will exchange blows here a little bit. Care coming on up to support. And Guwon gets some revenge for game number 1 there, stealing away the chickens. Hoya, another stun up against Breed. These top laners have been going at it all laning phase long. Guwon with the Dragon's Descent, not going to get involved.
Man, thinking about chicken again, Gordo. I'm going to chicken burgers
Anytime,
after this.
brother.
And I'm excited. There's going to be like bacon, some vegetables. I don't have any mayonnaise though. I feel like chicken and mayonnaise goes really well together. What do you think? I don't know. Maybe
like
I'm trolling.
Like I think that's the way to go. If you're...
Do you guys call burgers sandwiches? Are they just chicken sandwiches? Because I know that sometimes.
Yeah, for us, a burger is like a beef patty specific.
Right. Okay.
And everything else is a sandwich.
Right. So for us, a sandwich is specifically bread. Oh,
lockdown coming on through. Jachi gonna get served up.
Okay.
Picked up by Guwon. More food for the hungry dragon as Mako has to head for the hills. Flash forward from Zhuo, looking for a beat drop stun. Gonna get that flash traded with Mako's.
Okay, so I can see here on the left side, 34 stacks. I have no gauge for what is a good stack number for Shyvana, but keep that in mind. We don't have a stack counter on the HUD just yet. I think that if Shyvana was more prevalent in pro play, that would probably be implemented a lot quicker. But really nice ult from Zhuo. Catches Jachi, no cleanse. We're speaking about the cleanses being down before. And then Guwon's just here. Really nice gank. Gets the kill as well.
So I'm really curious as to where Guwon goes from here. It is looking like Dusk and Dawn.
Dusk and Dawn, okay.
That smells like Dusk and Dawn to me, Jbetto.
Yeah.
And that is a more on-hit E Shyvana build. That gets me excited.
Well, he was Q-maxing, so maybe he's going to like do a few points in Q and then change to E. We'll have to see as... Jwei
getting chased on down. Dragon's Descent comes through. That fear's huge. And Zhuo will be the one who claims the kill credit somehow at the end of the day. But Guwon's just happy to be claiming lives. Now locked down from the last embrace in mid. Awesome. Down in gold, but still happy to brawl, happy to stack up souls and keep them in a good position. And Guwon, again, like this is, there's surely some kind of complex here with these Raptors after game number 1.
All right, so we can see here, it's Q-max into E-max. So everything I've been told by Rafa is a lie, because I was told that if he was going to start AD, it was going to be Q then W-max, or E then, like E-max first. So nothing is true. Everything's a lie. Rift Herald being started up by NIP.
Now going to be a dash on forward. Nya looking to get the fight started. Does not find a target. Jwei gonna flash on in. They've got Care isolated. Here comes the Realm Warp. Nowhere for Annie to go. Although, except maybe hiding inside the blue buff pit, will not be able to stay alive that way. Guwon's lost a lot of health as well. IG really find the fight that they were looking for, although Mako just steps up way too far. Hoya kills him with the help of the turret. Mako sends one for the boys. Recall was completed by Guwon. Now he's coming to try to bail out Hoya. Not going to be able to get enough rage to stay alive, and Nya will claim that kill.
It's okay, though, because the dragon lived. IG pretty easily win this fight, so the Herald is secured. But this is these mid-game fights I'm talking about, where IG are just far superior. They split up the fight. Really good ult from Zhuo, but Breathe is just so hard to get through. At this point in the game, he has that level 2 ult. He's got his first item completed. Mako, yep, like you said, one for the boys. Down the bottom side, Jwei takes care of Annie alongside with Nya, who missed a couple of abilities, but we don't need to talk about that. But pretty easy fight for IG. I mean, they lose the Herald, but these mid-game fights, Gordo, they're pretty scary. Another thing about builds this game as well, Titanic Hydra on Xin Zhao.
Yeah, looking to, you know, definitely going to get some better wave clear out of it, but also perhaps just looking for the reset to get faster knockups, right? Gets another auto attack on down from the 3-talent strike and lets you just find that knockup a little bit faster. When you have short windows to blow up some of these squishier targets, like a mini Gnar, that can definitely be the tech of choice. I think Jwei just prioritizing that over any kind of sustain in this particular game. And Jachi brawling with Assum, going to be able to exchange ultimate for Mikhail's. Now here comes Guwon, just going to be able to get right on top of Nya, throws out the Dragon's Descent. Chain CC lasts way too long, and Guwon blows that Rise up.
Well, what I can say about this game, Gordo, is despite the dragon stacking, which is pretty scary, all right, we are going to see truly the strength of Shyvana. She has 1,000 extra gold. We're at 50 stacks. I feel like that's a pretty decent spot to be at. Well, I'm going to have to like look at the stats between Guwon. So 80 armor, 137 AD, 65 armor. The next time we see Jwei, I need to like compare. I don't actually know how to quantify how many stacks this is, but it feels like a decent amount.
It's like 3... Is it... don't quote me on this. It's like 0.3 armor and MR per stack.
It's not a ton.
No. So you really need to get a lot of stacks before you're like, you know, invincible. It's more of like, it's more of a, you know, like a Scion W stack than like a Kindred stack. You know what I mean? On the spectrum of stacks.
Yeah, okay. The problem is, like, where on the spectrum? Because Kindred gets, like, 4 stacks and you're good, and Scion gets, like, 2,000 stacks.
Yeah. It's more like you need a lot. You need, like, 100 stacks before you're like, damn, this champion's really tanky. And,
we have been updated. Production has informed us. Let me read this. 0.3 bonus armor and 0.3 bonus magic resist.
Hell yeah! I know things. That's what I said, right?
Well, I think that is what you said. That is pretty Ball Noah-esque of you, Gordo.
All right, then I'm gonna take that dub. Oh, but this is a dub that might be for Jhachi. Never mind, actually takes way more than he bargained for. Nearly gets one shot by the return fire of Zhuo and Assum, and now IG are in a fight that they would rather not have happened. Nya gonna get chased on down. Hoya gonna be able to pick up that kill. Guwon with the Dragon's Descent, putting in work once again with this Hexblade Dusk and Dawn build. 3-0-3 on the Shyvana. NIP on the front foot, going to be able to collapse this gold lead.
I really don't understand this team fight from IG. They have 3 dragons working on Soul. They're in a great spot. Jhachi has a good gold lead. We're working on this kind of like strong, you know, the rise moment, certified rise moment that I always talk about. Upgraded Seraphs, upgraded Roa, level 16, Actualizer. We're getting there. Why are we sending it in mid for no reason? If you're going to pull cleanse, that's fine, but that was not a pull cleanse moment. That was a lose my gold lead almost moment. I really don't understand that. So we take a look back here. Like, we're all grouped for no real reason. Arrow is pulled. Cleanse done. Jhachi walks way too far forward and gets absolutely destroyed. And then barely gets out. The rest of IG end up paying the price for it.
Yeah, Nya dies for the sins of his marksman here. This one's not his fault. Plenty this game have been his fault. That one is not.
Almost all Jhachi's.
Really good stuff from Hoya, being able to kind of hold off 3 there on the fight and just mean that they got to free fire on that Ashe for a while. Good combo on a breathe, but I don't know if they have quite enough damage. Enchanted Crystal Arrow flies by, waves goodbye to the rest of the members of NIP. And nobody will drop here, but that Renekton's forced out a lane. They should be able to get this turret.
This is Riftmaker now, it looks like, or it could be Landry's. He's building Book and Ruby Crystal. So this is kind of similar, I guess, to the build Refer was talking about, but it was Qmax first for clear, then Emax for the poke. Yeah, I'm really not sure about this build. Like how I don't really know a ton of other Shyvana builds, to be completely honest, but this is a build that you can go, and we will be judging the strength of the champion and this build off of this one game.
At least for LPL purposes, yeah. There's Guwon trying to chase on to Mako here. Just popping this ultimate pretty frequently, and it is where a lot of the power now resides.
Yep.
Definitely wants to be able to get those fears and chase downs with the experimental Hexblade, so just going to take the recall now. And,
all right, well, we've got 40 seconds until this next Dragon, Gordo, so
we do.
Soul fight is around the corner. IG pretty spent on the summoner spell situation here. No flashes on any of the important, squishy members. Working on 2 items for some of the frontline, 2 items for the carries already finished. On the other side, a lot of engage, right? Zhuo and Care have a genuine threat onto the backline. So this guy just got picked up by a wave. That'll be pretty important for this upcoming fight. But if you can land a stun onto the backline, onto Nya, onto Jhachi, even onto Mako, this is a game where taking down the support is important. Wei gets caught.
Finds its way on the way, and this is the jungler right before Dragon Soul spawning up. They only get him for a little bit of damage, but NIP, full control over this river. Breathe, recalling in top lane. He's a mile away with the Dragon still at half HP. They should be able to blow this one up. Enchanted Crystal Arrow does not connect. Guwon going Mega in just the right time. Wei going to go in for the engage. Care taken low. Care throws Tibbers on top of basically nothing. Gets blown up by Nia, and there's going to already be a great setup here for the likes of IG. And they're going to just completely wipe this fight. NIP completely out of sorts, and IG run amok.
Okay, that might just be the entire game, Gordo. I thought that was a way too late TP from Breathe, but NIP just do not have the damage to take down the dragon fast enough. Breathe goes into the backline, does so much damage, and then Jwei, with the Sundered Sky completed and his passive, heals for so much and just cannot die. He goes in 1v5 basically with Nya in the backline, Hoya around the corner.
Care! What is that?
Unacceptable. I did not see that. Breathe goes in, so much damage here. And then it looks like Jwei's about to die. Sundered Sky proc heal, Sundered Sky proc heal. Barely lives, but yeah, I did not see that, that Tibbers. That is completely unacceptable in a fight that important, because now you've lost Baron, now you've lost Chemtech Soul, and a huge gold swing over to IG.
I'm just flabbergasted. I mean, if you don't want to turn and burn the dragon, that's fine, but I mean, just a complete misexecution of the team fight. And Nya on the flank does a great job. Breathe comes in with the TP. It's like you said, Jbetto, and now NIP truly in dire straits, despite how strong Guwon has been all game long. They do find their engage, but is it too little and too late? Guwon has to flash back. Jiachi is free-firing, will tear apart the dragon. Hoya gets here. Too little, though. Maybe not too late. Does trade one back onto Nya. It is a 3-for-2 with Breathe still in the top lane.
Yep, that'll make a sizable chunk out of the IG gold lead to make this Baron power play not as impactful as it could have been, but the map is still falling around. Jiachi's got to be careful as Hoya is still strong. Bit of an overstep there from Jwei and Nya as that Rise power spike has been hit.
Roto Belt third.
All right, let's look at this fight back. Arrow, bit ambitious. Guwon goes in. A lot of damage from this Shyvana, I will say. And a little bit, again, over-ambitious on this dive from Jwei. Really nice push back in from Hoya. So a little bit too fast from IG, this siege. But yeah, so we were talking about maybe Riftmaker or Leandry's. It's
Proto Belt.
It's Proto Belt third.
Chogi has done irreparable damage to League of Legends with getting everyone to build this Proto Belt on everybody. No, I bet it's pretty good. I bet it's good to have another dash, and that item just gives you too many stats for too little gold. So I actually don't hate it. If you are... It turns out this was AP Shyvana all along. The Hexplate led us astray.
Yeah. Not only that, but the Q-Max first. It was Q-Max with Hexplate for the lane. Oh, nice stun.
Maybe finding the fight that they were looking for. Crescent Guard doing a lot of work, though, to keep Jwei standing, and now Breathe is going to take over for the front line. Hoya is melted down by this Ashe, and Jiachi is just completely unthreatened by the NIP lineup. A double kill to him. Nya finishes the job onto the back line. 5 members of IG pushing into Just Care, not even with Tibbers to support him. IG, the losing streak ends today. They're in a 2-0 NIP.
Wow, is all I can say. It felt like one fight. You lose everything for NIP, and IG, once they've got that lead, they do not let go. I'm gonna look back after and watch it. I don't think the Tibbers really would have changed the outcome of the fight, but that is pretty bad.
That whole fight was terrible. It's not fair.
Yes.
I mean, listen, Care has the most visually unappealing part of the fight, but the whole fight is bad. It's just an absolute cluster of an execution for NIP.
Yeah.
That ends the game on the spot. I'm not going to lie. Like, that's Dragon Soul for IG. That's the lead on the Shyvana. Evaporated. GG. IG. Yeah. I mean, you win that fight, you win the game. Also, you stacked the first 3 dragons. Well done, Jwei.
Yeah. What do you know? At the end of the day, it's 2026. Dragon stacking is still important. Soul is still the best objective in the game. I think LPL run a graphic about... obviously I'd have to get it translated, but that the Soul had a higher win percentage than the Elder did. People are throwing games with Elder or getting Elder and not being able to end the game. Anyway, they got the Baron as well. Little oopsie in mid, but then the last fight, super clean. Yeah, one kind of mid-game fight that just so happened to be the most important fight of the entire game is the one NIP decide that they are fully ready to take a 5v5 on. But we were talking about the whole game. IAG have this really good team fighting, as long as it's not super mega late game where you've got 10 billion stacks on your, stacking members. IAG's comp is just so solid, so team fight orientated. They stack the first 3 dragons. That's the game.
Absolutely. And great comeback series for IG, right? We were talking at the beginning of the night, like, Nya has not really been turning this team around. It feels like they still haven't quite found their groove, their solution. I think he had a really strong Akali game in game number 1. I think his Rise was pretty serviceable in game number 2, maybe getting caught out in some side lanes in places where you shouldn't. These are the kinds of growing pains you expect from a rookie, but able to lane well into care, able to absorb quite a few ganks before he finally does go down, and that absorbs some time from Guwon. And good execution, I think, from the rest of the members of IG. I think a strong bot lane performance from Jiachi and Mako against a bot lane duo that has really been taking the fight to so many bot lanes around Group Ascend. Assum and Zhuo have really kind of staked a claim for themselves as some of the best laning duos, and really well absorbed, really well drafted by IG to avoid giving them, the Lucian duos, the Ashe Seraphine, the Yunara Lulu never really has a good angle. They're able to consistently find themselves good matchups, and they avoid really giving much of anything over to this duo. Somehow we have a series where Assum plays Jhin and Senna. That feels like NIP sort of misunderstanding what's gotten them to 5-5.
Yeah, also, I think IG, pardon me, just did such an amazing job of drafting in this series. I think it was a draft gap the entire series. Game 1, more so as a counter. This draft is excellent from front to back. You still manage to get Ashe with an Enchanter. You get a really solid top side skirmish, and you have this Rise that, didn't manage to really get off the ground, but can really pop off. We've seen Rises really do that. Don't know if Nya he's the most comfortable in this pick. Saw a couple of fights there, specifically one where he kind of missed everything, but that's okay. That happens. I think for me that this is a Breathe MVP. Did completely fine in the lane. Like, we've seen that lane go horrendously for Renekton's, and they're behind genuinely like 4,000 gold. You can't do anything in the lane. Then you're so far behind in team fights and you're still getting outspaced. I think Breathe did so much work in the lane, looking for all-ins. And then that last team fight was spearheaded by him TPing in. Another miss stun by Care there. Not a good game from this Annie. But no, spearheaded by Breathe, TPing in and just running down an IP.
Yeah. Now hear me out. The nature of player of the game is that if I were to guess, I would think it might go to Jiachi because he had some of those really good fights at the end. But hear me out for a personal case. How about 100% KP Deathless Mako on the Lulu, right? Give
Justice for supports?
A little bit give the supports a little bit of love. I'm a bit of a Mako fanboy, so I'm going to advocate for him in a lot of situations. But a really quiet but solid game from him.
Look, I'm with you. I think Breed did an amazing job, but if it was a Mako MVP for this game, I wouldn't be mad.
One more time, man.
So let's have a look at this like Tibbers. Like, he's basically 1 HP. It's not going anywhere.
No, and then Breathe is all over the back line here. I mean, super well done by him. Hoya comes in with a big triple Gnar, but it's too little too late. The fight's already been lost, and the fight lines are so in the favor of IG. I mean, they just completely collapsed. I actually think the Tibbers is kind of a big deal there. That Tibbers needs to be either onto the back line so that Hoya can go and do that big Gnar combo onto some squishies that they'll actually be able to kill, or it needs to be stopping this giant Renekton from going and wrecking the whole fight. It does neither. and it collapses from there.
I will say, in the position the Care put himself in with the rocket belt, I'm not sure if the flash Tibbers actually hits anybody from that position. Maybe it hits the Renekton. I don't think he can gap close onto the backline. But I agree with the point. He needs to be in a better position to make the Tibbers in a fight that important actually do something. He needs to either deny the engage so that so the NIP can get the dragon and get out. They need to turn on Nia quicker before the dragon's down. They need to set up some kind of dive onto the backline. They need to have done something that wasn't flash on the spot, Tibbers on my face, and run away, soiled my pants, and just completely lose the game. Because that is what happened. Not a very comforting team fight from a team that just took down AL in 2-0 fashion, and I thought their team fights looked really good.
Yeah, absolutely here. So that is going to be where we close out today's series. A 2-0 for IG, keeping them in potential contention for a top 4 finish. The loss here would have eliminated them, but they hold strong. They can still get to 7 wins, and that means they still have the chance to be able to get a top 4 berth in the playoffs. That is what gets you that bye. That gets you away from a matchup against a lower group team. That is where you want to be. So still plenty to play for both of these teams. Their seasons are not locked in stone as of yet. They still have plenty of playoff posturing to play for. With that said, we're going to be getting into our second series of the night here before too long. Everybody get excited for Top Esports versus WE coming on up next. And that is going to be taken away by another set of casters. So that's going to do it for Jbetto and I. Thank you, everybody who's hung out with us for this first series. And stay tuned for Top Esports WE coming on up next.